in part 2 of the IELTS speaking test, you will be expected to speak about a random topic for up to 2 minutes. So in this video, we will look at some strategies that will help you speak more confidently in part 2 of the IELTS speaking exam. Now, let's get started. Hi there, this is Brick from How to IELTS, and I am a qualified English teacher with nearly 10 years of teaching experience. And on this channel, we cover everything IELTS related. So if this is something that you're interested in, make sure you subscribe. Now, before we look at these strategies, let's talk about what you need to do in part 2 of the IELTS speaking test. So the whole speaking test lasts anywhere between 11 and 14 minutes. And the speaking test is broken down into 3 parts. We have part 1, part 2, and part 3. Now, part 1 will last anywhere between 4 and 5 minutes, and here you will be asked general questions such as questions about your hobbies or your family, or even questions about your regular routine. This part of the exam will be similar to a conversation where the examiner will ask you a question, you will answer, the examiner will ask you another question, you will answer, and this will continue until the 4 to 5 minutes is over. And then when this is over, you will move on to part 2 of the speaking exam, where you will be expected to speak about one topic for up to 2 minutes without stopping. Now, the way this works is that the examiner will give you a task card with a topic and a few questions related to that topic, like the one on your screen. Now, the examiner will give you 1 minute to prepare and make notes, and then when your 1 minute is over, you will be expected to speak about the topic for up to 2 minutes without stopping. And once this is complete, you will then move on to part 3 of the speaking exam, which is the final part of the speaking test. And here you will be asked some further questions that are directly related to the topic that you were given in part 2. And this part of the exam will be a little bit similar to part 1 of the exam, where the examiner will ask you a question, you will then answer, the examiner will ask you some more questions, and then you will answer those questions. And that will conclude your whole speaking exam. Okay, now that we know the structure of the speaking exam, let's talk about the first strategy that will help you get the best possible mark, and that is to use the 1 minute preparation time effectively. So, in part 2 of the exam, you will be given 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. And 1 minute is not a lot of time. So, we need to use this time effectively to make sure that we make notes on the topic that you will be asked about. But what do we even mean by using this 1 minute time effectively? Well, instead of writing full sentences, write in note form. So let's do this together. So let's look at this example task card on your screen. Now, as you can see on the screen, there are 3 bullet points, and each bullet point is asking you a question. So instead of writing the answer out in full sentences, we want to write them down in as less words as possible. And we want to do this to save time. So here is an example of what that might look like. The first question is where. So let's give 3 possible answers. So we will start off very specific, and then we will broaden it out. So for where, we can write sports shop, and then Lahore, and then Pakistan. And for the second question, how long, you can say 2 years ago, in the summertime, after I finished university. The third question, what, you can say cricket bat, to play with friends, and to practice for a game. And the final question, why, because you love cricket, because it gives you a reason to meet up with friends, and because it allows you to stay fit and healthy. So, as you can see from the card on your screen, what I have done is provided 3 reasons for each question. And the reason why I have provided 3 reasons is because that will allow me to speak for a longer period of time. Now you can screenshot this so you can use it as an example, and make sure you practice this technique before your speaking exam. And when you first start practicing this technique, do it without a timer and just focus on writing things down. And then when you feel more confident, that's when you can use a timer and time yourself for 2 minutes and try to answer different questions about different topics. And then when you get more familiar with this technique, use your timer and give yourself 60 seconds. So not 2 minutes now, give yourself 60 seconds to answer these questions. And by the time it is test day, you will feel so much more relaxed and confident when making notes, because you would have done all the hard work and you would have practiced in advance. Also, on a side note, don't worry about your spelling or your handwriting or anything like that on test day. And that's because in your speaking exam, your notes will not be marked. So don't worry about anything like that. Now let's move on to the next strategy, which is to focus on the speed of your speech. So don't speak too fast and don't speak too slow. Speak at your normal speed. Many test takers speak very fast in their speaking exam, especially for part 2 of their speaking test. They think that they only have 2 minutes to speak, so they need to say as many words as possible. But remember, you did not get any extra marks for saying more words. In fact, speaking fast can make you more likely to make grammatical errors and make you more likely to make mistakes with your pronunciation. Also, if you speak too fast, you might run out of things to say, and then suddenly you will have to stop, and that can make you feel quite nervous. So we want to avoid that. Just speak at your normal rate and make sure you practice speaking before the exam. Now, a good tip for this is to record yourself speaking when you are studying, and also try to speak as much as you can in your regular day-to-day life. The more you speak, the more comfortable and the more confident you will feel on test day. Now let's move on to the third strategy, which is to organize what you will say. So when you speak, try to organize your ideas clearly by using connecting words like and, so, or but. Also, use words like unfortunately, however, or for example, to make your talk easy to follow. These words help your speech flow better and make more sense. So follow your task card to cover all the points and explore the topic from different angles. Now, you may be asked questions to describe what you mean. So start with an introduction to the topic and then address each point one by one. So let's look at an example to see what this looks like. So let's say the topic is describe a memorable trip. You could start by saying, I want to talk about a trip that was unforgettable for me. At that time, I had just finished my exams and needed a break. So I decided to visit the mountains. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't great, but I still had a fantastic experience. For example, I met some locals who showed me around, and consequently, I learned a lot about the culture there. However, it wasn't just about the scenery, it was the people I met who made it special. Now, using these words that I've highlighted, they help structure the story and they make it easier to follow. So you can take a screenshot of this, and now let's move on to the next strategy, which is practice makes perfect. Now, it is important to practice speaking for 2 minutes about a topic. So one way we can do this is by picking out random IELTS speaking cards and recording yourself speaking about these topics for 2 minutes. And according to the IDP website, this is how you can do that. Step 1. Set up a timer to time yourself for 3 minutes. That's 1 minute to make some notes and 2 minutes to speak. Then start your long turn and speak for the full 2 minutes. Then go back and listen to your recording and pay close attention to any breaks or fillers or pauses that you have made. And then finally, keep repeating this process until you can speak for a full 2 minutes without any pauses, any breaks or fillers. Now, if you are looking for some topics to speak about, I will leave a link below of some cue cards that you can follow. Or you can take a picture of these 3 examples on your screen taken directly from the IELTS IDP website. And that brings us to the end of this video. If you benefited from this video, please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and click on this video next, which YouTube is recommending you to do so. And I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.